Hey, it's Joe. This next video that I'm showing you here is about buying properties on a land contract and when it makes sense. There's several ways that you can do it that make sense. One is if you're working in Texas, land contracts are pretty easy to do in Texas because you can foreclose on them in 30 days if the buyer doesn't pay you. And they also help because there's some regulations on lease options in Texas that they don't have in the other parts of the country that land contracts will help you comply with. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Also, if you want to do a quick flip, if you're buying something that's dramatically under market value, you can buy it on a land contract, turn around and sell it through a realtor on the MLS, make a quick chunk of money and move on. I've done this quite a few times. And in different states, different areas, you don't have to do it locally, and it's very easy to put together. And I'll show you. I'll give you an example of one of the ones that I did recently, that where we made just a quick $5,000 and turned around and sold it under market value on the MLS, paid the realtor. Everybody was happy in the transaction. The other thing that you can do with land contracts is you can buy any property on terms with a land contract. I prefer not to buy properties on land contract when I'm buying them for the long term. I much prefer taking them subject to or through multi-mortgage, and that's what I stick with because there's so many of those available. You don't have to go down the hierarchy and go to land contracts. But I'll show you an example of what might make sense. And sometimes when you're not as good at negotiating or talking to a seller, land contract sometimes makes the seller a little more comfortable than just deeding the property to you. Once you get good at it, though, once you get good at talking to them and making them feel comfortable that you're actually going to follow through with what you promise, then selling it subject to is really not a problem. And if you use the techniques that I have in the push-button method, I think it'll be a lot easier for you. So let me show you these types of deals here, and then I'll be right back.
Here's a little house that we bought on land contract in Pennsylvania, and I had to go online to get this picture because we never even got a picture or needed a picture to sell this property. What we did, the current value was $57,000 on it. This person responded to one of our ads in the paper to sell their home, and they went to our website and they filled out the form, and so we knew pretty much what the values were. They actually told us that they thought the current value is $57,000. They want to get rid of it. They gave us a price. We offered a little bit less on it, and we said sell it to us on land contract. We want that land contract to be, no payments at all for 6 months, 2-year land contract. We figured that if we couldn't get it sold in 6 months, we probably weren't going to be able to get it sold anyway. But so we had no payments onto this thing. Then we went out and we called a realtor local to the area, and we had him list the property in the MLS for $39,000, and we sold it within 7 days through the MLS for $37,000. Now, after our closing costs and the deal we cut with a realtor to get a good deal, we ended up making $5,000 profit on this deal simply by talking to the seller, getting the land contract put together, finding a realtor, having the realtor do the work. A week later, they get it done. They send out a check to us. We send out they sent out a check to the owner, who got her full $25,000 in cash in 7 days, and so she was very happy, and we were happy. We made $5,000 and didn't really do anything to deserve it. So this is how land contracts work. Now, you can also do this with an assignable deal, but if you're going to go to a realtor, it's better if you're a land contract holder. They'll be more likely to list it, and they won't have any problems with it. We have run into realtors that wouldn't list a property because we bought it on land contract before, but that's pretty rare. I've even gotten realtors to list properties with me that I had options on. So that's possible to do it that way as well. But the land contract just makes it a little smoother. We didn't know anybody in Franklin, so we had to call around to a couple of realtors and found one, which I didn't do, by the way. I had an assistant do for me. Found somebody that sounded like they knew what they were talking about and gave them the job, and they made a little bit of money, and we made a little bit of money, and got it sold very quickly. So this is the kind of thing you can do on land contract when you're making it happen. The other thing I think I told you in the previous video about how I sell properties that I bought subject to on land contract to end users or to investors. and sometimes that works pretty well as well. But that keeps me in control of the property because I'm on the deed. When I buy, I don't usually buy on a land contract unless I'm planning on getting rid of that property pretty quickly. But a lot of people are happy to buy on land contracts, and they do very well. Investors keep them that way. Again, I think it's so easy to get them subject to. I don't bother with land contracts unless I'm doing something like this with it.
All right, so that's land contracts. There's a lot of ways to make money using land contracts. Again, if you understand the hierarchy of structures, if you understand how to analyze a deal, if you understand your exit strategies, these are the ways that you make money in real estate. Those are the things that you need to know in order to know whether you've got a good deal on your hands. And once you can do that, then you can look at any deal, and then usually in 5 minutes, if you've got the numbers, you can determine whether that's going to be a viable deal. Almost every deal that I've put together in the past 15 or 20 years, I've not done any due diligence on. I've simply created structures in a way that is completely safe to me, so I don't have to close it if a problem comes up, or if there's an issue, or if one of the due diligence issues comes up. I put the onus of due diligence on the person I sell to and on the person I buy from, rather than taking that myself, so that I don't have to worry about those issues. And I think if you do the same thing, then you can analyze deals as quickly as I'm doing it. You can do them remotely, so you don't have to be nearby. You don't have to be in your town. You don't have to see the house. And you can bring all these people in through the internet marketing techniques that we use. So learn them, and you can have an awesome business. Thanks now.